I've been at Webster quite a long time, 35 years, 35 and a half years, I would say. And it's been a wonderful variety of experiences that I've had here, and that's what's kept me interested and active and feeling fresh at this institution, because there's always something new to try, opportunities to grow and learn. So I've moved from professor to director of various kinds of programs to department chair to dean, and in every one of those roles there's just been so many learning opportunities, both within the School of Education and outside the School of Education, across the university. I've grown with the university since the time it was Webster College. I came in 1983 to it being a university a year later. And I've been here since the first international campus was created in Geneva, to seeing all the other international locations developed and programs across the world. So it's been quite a run. Well, one of my most cherished memories in the history of my time at Webster was getting to know a woman by the name of Beatrice Kornblum. Bea was a high school economics teacher in the city of St. Louis in her early life. And by the time I met her, she was 91 years old, and she was interested in contributing some of her, her funding, her money, to a university. We got to know each other, developed a relationship. She got to know and understand Webster University and the School of Education programs. And over time, she made a decision to give an endowment gift, which ultimately ended up being $2.8 million. And this is a gift that then endowed the Beatrice and David Kornblum Institute for Teaching Excellence. So this is a gift that keeps on giving. Even though Bea died at age 96, she continues to influence and have a major impact on our students, our faculty, and the community. Through that fund, we are able to fund scholarships with a special focus on urban education, innovative and arts integrating projects that integrate arts, and also mainly focusing on commitment by teachers who are willing to work with children at risk or immigrant and refugee families. So it has a somewhat broad focus, but these were all her passions, and we stick to that today. The 40th anniversary of our Master of Arts in Teaching program was a major opportunity to reflect back on the accomplishments of the education programs at Webster. It gave me an opportunity to, with colleagues, to study our history, to get to know our founder, Sister Jacqueline Grennan, who was then Jacqueline Grennan Wexler. And she, in fact, was able to come for that 40th anniversary. And that was just one of my best memories of being at Webster, getting to know her, getting to talk with her, finding out, for example, that so many people around the world who recognize her and know her work. In fact, I have, through my own work in education, had the wonderful opportunity to meet several times and get to know Jerome Bruner, who was a professor of psychology at Harvard, and so extremely major name in education in general. But he knew Jacqueline. He wrote a letter to comment on his memories and reflections of her, and I was able to read that at the 40th anniversary with Jacqueline being there. It was just a wonderful moment to celebrate her impact on the university, on School of Education in particular, and on her worldwide influence. So that was a really treasured moment. We were able to go to the Danforth Foundation for a grant to bring together a group of schools, originally 5 schools in the area that were going to, wanted to study this approach in more depth. And so this was a grant that helped us develop a professional network of schools, and Webster was always the lead in that. It ultimately evolved into something we call the St. Louis Reggio Collaborative, and we had over time many more schools, and we held conferences and we held visitations. We became a reference point in the U.S. for Reggio-inspired U.S. education. In terms of my opportunity to be Dean of the School of Education, I would say I'm very proud of the fact that we have continued to have a strong presence in the local area, but also have expanded to national and international recognition because of our online programs. We've always had a strong tradition from the start of outstanding and nationally recognized face-to-face programs. We had a grant from the Ford Foundation, and this was again through Jacqueline Grennan, who obtained that grant, and several other foundations, and we were considered the wave of the future. When I came to Webster in 1983, Webster still had that very, very strong reputation with teachers in the area, and as we grew to evolve in the way that Webster has with international campuses and presence, we became interested in looking at national recognition and international recognition. We were able to, during my tenure as dean, with all of the work of my colleagues, to obtain national recognition for 7 of our master's programs, which is beyond the national accreditation, the National Council for Teacher Education, for accreditation of teacher education. These are specialized accreditations. And so we've been able to achieve that, and now we've expanded to develop many of these programs as online degree programs and drawing in students from around the world. It's a way to reach new populations that help us, but also help our students to be immersed in a setting with people from different perspectives, different cultures, a diversity of students. And so that's the value I see. The School of Ed has really progressed to expand to offer all of those kinds of opportunities, and I'm very pleased to have been part of that. Well, one of the things that we've kind of come back around on our history to do is to develop strong relationships and partnerships with school districts. So when the original MAT was designed, it was done in collaboration with 3 particular school districts that Sister Jacqueline at the time was in touch with. And the MAT programs were designed with their input and their desires for what was needed for teachers in that area. In probably the last 10 to 15 years, I would say, we've developed even more formal and stronger partnerships with not just a particular school, but a school district. So some of the interesting and exciting developments that have been happening in the last 10 years or so is a focus more on grants, both local, national, and regional kinds of grants that we've been able to obtain. The largest grants have been National Professional Development Grants. We obtained a new one for focusing on the St. Louis area for $2.9 million over the next 5 years. So these are exciting opportunities for us to work with local school districts to help develop a workforce of teachers who have strong expertise in responding to children with English as a second language. And it's been really good work. You know, it's schools of education are primarily focused on teacher preparation, but we're focused also on the community because children live within families and within community. And so that broader perspective of understanding how we can do good work that affects children even outside the classroom is of great importance to us. And so we've been enabled to do that through some wonderful grants that we've had. Well, my 35 years at Webster have been good training ground for, as everyone says, lifelong learning. I have developed a disposition as well as probably some of the skills and competencies to take what I've learned, apply them in new situations. I certainly don't plan, I am retiring, but I don't plan to not work or not contribute to the community. So I will continue to do some creative work with our grants projects, as well as possibly some international programs that Webster's connected with. I look forward to continuing my involvement on some national boards that continuously, stimulate me to think in new directions about not just teacher education, but education in a broader sense, and also social justice. One of my biggest passions and opportunities in the last couple of years is to become involved with a group of deans across the country, deans and former deans, so I can still be part of that. It's called Education Deans for Justice and Equity. And we are regularly meeting and putting out position statements and offering various events and opportunities, and continuously thinking about what's next, about how we can promote more education and equity focus in teacher preparation. Well, I plan on certainly traveling, spending more time with my family. I have a couple of grandchildren I'll be with more often. They live in Colorado. But I hope to do some writing, possibly some consulting, and some continued involvement in professional organizations. My husband's already retired, and so we'll have a lot more time together, which will be a great thing, although, as we've both said, I'm going to probably have to help them make adjustments, them being our dog and my husband, because they have spent a lot of time together, and now I'm going to be part of that circle. But it's going to be nice. It's going to be nice to slow down a little bit, to read more. I'd like to do that, and to write, as I said, and then just make plans to be with my family. Oh, well, certainly the daily interaction with all my colleagues and across the university. I've figured out a way to transition from that and make that easier by, as I said, continuing to do some part-time work with our grant project. And so that'll help me to make that transition, but I certainly will miss all that interaction. It's through the interaction with colleagues and students, of course, and our community that one continues to grow and learn. And so being part of a vibrant community is something I'll also cherish in memory, but I hope to continue in the long run here.